Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I said hey.
Hey.
Welcome back to my channel.
Hey, girl.
Hey y'all, I'm Jasmine W. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Y'all know I like to jump right in, but first I must let you know that I do have a comedy show in Dallas on July 5th. Two shows actually, 7:30 or 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Come out if you want to laugh. I'll also be in New York on August 23rd at the New York City Winery, and come out and support me. You know, it's very rare that you get a black woman to sell out her shows, you guys. And there are lots of really funny black women that I know, but like, what happens to the black women doing comedy? So please come out and support me and any other artists that you know, that you're up and coming artists that you want to support and stuff like that. It's really important that we do that.
So we can have
today
more
we're
than
going to be
Tiffany
talking
Haddish.
about Nelly and Ashanti. Full disclosure, I have not watched this reality show, but I've seen some of the clips online. And so I'm not going to be talking about the show. I'm not going to be talking about their relationship. I am going to be talking about their relationship, but I'm just going to be going off of a few clips that I've seen. And what I really want to talk about is really like culturally some of the things that are coming up in this show that have sort of like triggered me in relation to our culture, specifically black culture and pop culture, which are sometimes the lines get blurred on those things, but like just culturally what triggered me as a millennial as well. Some of the things that came up in the show that I think we need to talk about more, and we need to, you know, have more dialogue about it. So the Ashanti and Nelly show is about their relationship right now. We know that they used to date back in the day, and they decided to reconnect and start their relationship again. I think that kind of started, I don't know why they broke up the first time. I don't know that much about their relationship, but Nelly and Ashanti were sort of reconnected during like the verses during COVID, right? And they've been in a relationship ever since. They're married, and she recently had a baby. So congratulations to Ashanti on recently having her first child, and she's in her 40s. And I say congratulations to Ashanti and Ashanti only because Nelly does not want that baby. Well, maybe that's the wrong thing to say. He didn't want to have a baby, and that's my assumption based on the way that he's acting on the clips that I've seen on the show. So
right.
I wanted to talk about some things. I'm going to talk about in this video is being a married single mom, the way that we glorify marriage, by any means necessary, money in marriage, giving men more children, and support after having a baby. So those are some of the things that I want to touch on in this video. So some direct quotes and some things that are sort of happening on Nelly and Ashanti's show, right, that are relevant to the things that we're going to be talking about. So they recently had a baby, and from what I can tell, they live in St. Louis because that's where Nelly's office is. That's where his business connections are. That's where he's from. And yeah, so that's where they live. It sounds like, you know, the fact that Ashanti has a new baby, she has a couple of people there to help her that Nelly mentioned. And I'm going to make the assumption that one of them is her mom because I saw her mom on the show. And I don't know who the other person is. It could be a family member. It could be hired help. I'm not sure. But Ashanti is talking about some of the struggles that she's having as a new mom, just like any new parent, you know, now that she has an infant. Nelly told his friends, when referring to Ashanti and the baby, he said, I told her to enjoy the baby until he can say, I'm hungry or I got to go to the bathroom. You're on your own. And so basically he's saying that, you know, from 0 to 3, he told Ashanti that she will be doing this on her own because he is 50 years old, and a 50-year-old has no place chasing a toddler around. He says that he thinks that it's a gift. This is a direct quote. It's a gift to be able to sleep through his baby's cries at night. So
What?
it's a gift to be able to tune his baby out at night.
Oh, no.
He doesn't plan on getting up. He doesn't plan on changing diapers. He even called that a blessing.
He did.
And Ashanti, you know, when he said that, Ashanti said, no, you should be getting up. It's your turn to change the diapers. And he was like, he's told her several times on the clips that I've seen, I made it very clear in the beginning, before all of this, right, that that's not something that he was interested in. And he also told her a couple of times during the show, I love you, and I told you I will give you the world. I just ain't changing no diapers.
Hell no.
Now, Ashanti, you know, she's been famous for, I'm not even famous, but she's been in the public eye for longer than me. She's sold more albums than me. She's older than me. So this video is not really about Ashanti necessarily, or Nelly in general. It's just about some of the things that hopefully somebody else could be watching this and needs to hear some of the things that I'm going to say in this video. So the first thing I want to say is, can we stop glorifying marriage by any means necessary?
Desperation.
And I say this as a woman who was married for a long time. You can go back and watch my Married at First Sight reviews. I talk about my marriage a lot in those older videos that I have here on my page, because I've had a page for a very long time. You know, I have a 3-year-old child, and I've been going through a divorce for about over 2 years now. And I'm not even here to talk about my own personal business, but my experience will show up in the work that I do and in the things that I create and here on YouTube, right? So I am here to share my own personal experience with you guys. And my experience is that, you know, whenever I say I'm a single mom, whenever I refer to my baby daddy, whenever I refer to myself even being as somebody's baby mama, people will come into the comments and say, oh, but you were married. That's different.
How?
Doesn't look like it. Here, in this situation where Ashanti, she's still with her husband.
And she's a single mom.
If we are experiencing the same things, let's find ways in which our experiences overlap versus trying to decide who's better than one another based on semantics. That's the first thing I want to say. Ashanti is a married single mother.
Period.
Her husband told her, you are on your own until the baby gets the baby's able to tell me that they're hungry or they can go to the bathroom. My child is 3 and now they can tell me those things. For 3 years, you mean to tell me you're going to tell your wife that you're not changing diapers, you're not taking care of your child, you're not caring for your child? Okay.
Whack.
The bigger problem that I have with this is Ashanti, in my personal opinion, you know, is old enough to be able to see what someone is telling her. And if she wasn't, that's fine. But I'm here to tell you, if you encounter a person or a man who is not
enthused,
open to supporting you during the most vulnerable, arguably one of the most traumatic moments and experiences you will have in your life as far as giving birth, you do not need to have kids with that person
at all.
Let's let go of the marriage by any means necessary mentality.
That's the first thing.
And I know, because I've been married, I say this all the time, I feel like I'm in a position of privilege, because there are some women who have never been in love, they've never been married, they want these things so bad that they're willing to sacrifice for them.
Don't.
But I'm telling you, unless, it could be very well that Ashanti's just like, I'm 40, I want a baby, and I think he looks good and he got money. Okay, then don't expect him to change any diapers. Right. Don't ask him about it. Don't talk to him about it. You know what you got yourself into. And if you're making that decision, that's fine. But I think it personally dampens the experience. And I think it's unfortunate, because children, when they're that age, the 0 to 3 are some of the most formative years.
The most.
They need both parents. They need their entire community during that time.
They're learning.
It's not just about the mom, so mom's nurturing. Oh, well, men, we're not naturally nurturing. Yes, you are, and you could be if you worked on it.
Right.
Like, what? I think that this is a big issue within our community. The idea that when you're married, you're better than a woman or a person who's not married, that's false. And when you're married, you're actually in a position to get help or whatever the case is. There are lots of single married women out here. I personally don't know if I could recommend, well, I always say this. I don't recommend having a man's baby unless you are married to him. The only exception is if you have more money than he has. Ooh, don't marry him then. And I'm talking about heteronormative relationships, right? So if you're a woman and you have more money than the man you pregnant by, or you plan on getting pregnant by, do not marry that man.
Don't.
That's a separate video.
He got you.
The second thing I want to talk about is money. Okay? Money does not solve all of your problems.
Black people.
I'll give you the world, but I just ain't changing no diapers is not good enough, in my opinion. Giving me the world, but starving me from the emotional support that I need and even the physical support that I need by taking on some of the responsibility of raising a child after I have gone through this traumatic experience is disgusting to me.
Heartbreaking.
It's disgusting. And some people will say, oh, well, they pay child support,
so
that's not enough. Oh, well, they pay for anything. You don't have to pay no bills. We look at Cam Newton and we look at the comedian Jasmine. Well, she likes the lifestyle. She doesn't have to pay any bills.
And
I think when you get with somebody, or if you have ever been with somebody who pays bills, you quickly realize that paying bills and sitting up in a house, beautiful house even, but not getting the emotional support that you need, if you value that, right? It's not enough to have bills paid.
No.
Okay. When you imagine a family, you imagine a partnership, support, love, tenderness, emotional support, help.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it, you really lack, you suffer. Because it's not only like, oh, well, I got the money to do this, girl. Some people live like that, But when you marry somebody and procreate with them, you really want love and affection and help, and you want to see your man sleep with the baby in his arms like this. You want to see your man change the baby and pick the baby up so you can get a nap. Take the baby so you can get a nap. You want to be able to go for a walk without your child just to clear your head. These are things that you need.
And the baby
for
needs.
Your mental health.
And the baby needs. And
I've been single ever since before I gave birth. And I'm speaking from experience. Not having those things from the person that you had your baby with, it is very devastating. So I'm just saying, be careful of these things. And I know, and I'm saying I'm a 36-year-old woman. When we start to get this age and we have never been married and don't have kids, we start to get a little desperate.
Ooh, no, don't tell them. Don't say that. But I want
to assure you that the companionship is not worth the sacrifice.
Preach.
And there's no wrong way to do it. I'm just saying, if you see these red flags, there's something to be aware of, right? Because people will say, oh, well, you didn't know him enough, or that's why you shouldn't double back, or that's why you got to get to know somebody. You can know them forever.
Like Ashanti.
You could know them half your life or your whole life.
Like Ashanti.
And still be in that situation, right? It's important to notice the red flags. The third thing I want to bring up is when it comes to noticing. Notice when men don't want kids.
Say that again.
I need us to open our eyes a little bit. Notice when men don't want kids. If Nelly set you down, it's obvious that Nelly had a child with Ashanti because it's something that she wanted, right? He says, I love you. I'll give you the world, but I'm just not changing no diapers. That translates to me is, I love you. You wanted a child. I gave it to you. Now you have it. Don't ask me.
Leave me alone.
Because you knew I wasn't going to be doing that from the jump.
Because I said it.
So you got your baby. Rock with your baby, your mama, whoever. And when the baby get old enough to kick it with me, then I might step in and take some responsibility. Otherwise, I'm just going to be, hey, baby. All right.
I'll be back.
Notice that man did not want any kids. Okay? When you're with somebody and they speak negatively about having children, now this is not my experience. Okay? Let me just say that. But I've seen it many a time. 40-year-old men who say, I don't know, it's such a commitment. It's such a life-altering thing. I don't know.
At 40.
No. That man does not want no kids.
At all. He don't. And that's okay.
If you hear a man say, oh, well, I just can't imagine my life changing that much. Like, I just don't know. He doesn't want kids.
Exactly.
If you hear that man say, dang, I'm 50. I can't run around no kids. I can't run around no toddlers. Goddamn. He doesn't want kids.
No more kids for him.
If a man is on the fence about having kids, he don't want no kids. Now, y'all don't have to come into the comments and tell me that there are some men who are gung-ho about having kids and then the kids come and they switch up. We know that. But there are also plenty of men who be like, I don't know. We have to see. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know if I could do. I don't know. I just don't know.
And y'all ignore
That's
it.
not somebody you want to have kids with.
Exactly.
Even since I've been dating, I've dated men who are like, I would love to be a dad. I'm not a dad yet. I would love to be a dad. And that's a lot different from, I don't know, like, I can't change no diapers. Don't. Keep that man's semen away from your cootie cat. Trust me. Trust me. There was one thing I wanted to say about having money that I just remembered, right? I made a video that's on my page about the reasons why I will never give birth again. There were so many people who came into my comments and said, well, your next man might be able to afford a nanny. You might have a staff. You might have the money. You might have. Never marry a broke man, okay? My first baby daddy wasn't broke.
Gag it.
You're missing the point.
And you are.
It doesn't matter if you have the finances. That does not replace the emotional currency that is required.
Exactly.
And also, I don't want to have another child
at all.
But the money in our community always seems to take precedent over the experience. Mm-hmm. And I can't stand that about the way we talk as a culture. It's like no amount of money is going to change the experience that I'm looking for. Is it not clicking with you? The experience is not having a nanny, having help in that way by somebody who's hired. It's not clicking with y'all.
It's not clocking.
Also, the other things I mentioned had nothing to do with money or lack. Like, obviously. The next point, I have 2 more points. In regards to noticing when a man doesn't want kids and stuff like that, never give a man more than 3 children.
Under any circumstance.
Ever.
I don't care if you're married or not.
Ever.
Don't
give a man more than 3 kids. You'll say, why? Because he doesn't need more than 3.
Yeah, why does he need more than 3?
For what?
He got a farm?
I've seen men leave their wife who has 6, 7, 8 kids. He wakes up one day and says, I'm good. I don't want to be married no more.
True story.
And he'll get up and leave.
I've seen it more than once.
True story. I've seen it with my own eyes. When Ashanti doubled back with Nelly, she should have realized that he wasn't the person for her. Because she wanted children and he has 5 already.
He's done.
That's enough. A man with 5 kids who clearly tells you he doesn't want to change diapers, doesn't want to start over, you should have never given him the opportunity to have kids with you. Never. And any man who you have kids with, this is my own personal belief. Do not give him more than 3.
Yep. That's the max.
If you meet a man and he has 2 kids and you guys fall in love and you want to have a kid, do not have more than 1. This should be a general rule. I wish I could make it the law.
Call Trump.
Like, you should never give a man more than 3 kids because he just simply doesn't need that many. Nick Cannon could not even name all of his children.
Right.
That's disgusting to me.
Stupid. He's stupid.
I have 5 nephews. I can name all of them and their middle names. So I don't understand. I don't understand the mentality. Please understand, when you meet a man who has several children and several baby mothers, you will not be different. Now, if you meet a man and he has 1, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Not with me,
okay.
But if it was my friend, I'd be like,
see. Let's see.
You want to try it? Try it. But if you meet a man and he has 3 kids, don't think about having kids with that man. If you want to hang out with him, get to know with him, go on vacation and kick it with him and go on dates and kiss and hunch and stuff like that, do that. Do not get pregnant by that man. He's already had his kids.
Exactly.
Y'all don't own no farms or nothing like that. I mean, Rick Ross, he has a chain of Wingstops, but I don't think his kids work in all of them. There's no need to have that many kids. Brian McKnight had 3 kids and he decided to start over because he didn't like the ones he had. Are we not clicking with the examples? I mean, what's not clicking with y'all?
What's clocking? It's not clocking.
Like, I don't get it. That's why I will not be having another one. You can add that to the list. But I won't. No. And then the last thing that I felt was a red flag from watching Ashanti and Nelly, and I wanted to talk about this, is Ashanti's entire community is in New York. But Nelly is from St. Louis, and his family is in St. Louis as well. He said his connections are in St. Louis, the vibe is in St. Louis, and his office is in St. Louis. Ashanti wants to move back to New York to raise her kids, send her kid to school. That's where she's from, and that's where her community is. Now, this one can go a little bit either way, but the one thing I wanted to shine a light on in this particular situation is Nelly has already, and also Nelly is on tour where he's gone 3 weeks at a time, and then he's back for 2 weeks, and then he's gone for a couple of weeks at a time, and then he's back. And he still tours pretty actively. I think it's odd. I don't think it's odd. I think it's self-centered. Beware of men who are self-centered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Self-centered. They center themselves, and everything revolves around them. In my experience, I would describe marriage as your husband being the moon, and you are any of the other planets. Pick one. But they all revolve around the moon.
The sun, girl.
And that's you, your kids, your family, grandparents, and things like that. Particularly your partner, your husband's, particularly your husband's family.
The sun
will revolve around that moon.
The sun. What? The moon's
in a lot of cases. Sometimes you meet somebody who wants to have kids, who's a great father. I have plenty of great fathers in my family and my own.
Facts.
My own father is great. After I was born, my mom always told me the story about how my dad got laid off and he stayed at home and took care. He was a stay-at-home dad for like 3 months. Because my dad is he's still a moon. Everything still does revolve around him. Don't be confused.
Please.
I know he's watching this. But he is not as self-centered as some men that I've come across in my 36 years on this planet.
When it comes to family.
And Nelly is self-centered.
Yep.
Yeah. He's already said that he tours. He travels about 50% of the time.
So
right?
does Ashanti, right?
And he said he wasn't changing no diapers. But he refuses to move to where Ashanti's community is so that she can be happy, so that she can get the support that she needs without her family members flying back and forth, and so that she can have some community around her. Now, that's just something I don't understand. Because if you told me that you're not going to be an active father, I'm going to have to do everything. I'm going to have to wake up in the middle of the night. I'm going to have to tutor. I'm going to have to shop for clothes. I'm going to have to make doctor's appointments and take them to the doctor's appointments and get shots and all of these things I'm going to have to do by myself. Why not appease me by letting me do it with my community where I'm happy?
Exactly.
And he's refused.
Your head look big.
Beware of men who are self-centered. Self-centered. Peep when a man is just a self-centered person. Everything revolves around them. Yeah. I'm no longer interested in being around nobody like that except my daddy.
Okay.
Think about some of these things when you start to conversate with men.
Yes.
Think about, is he self-centered? You will be shocked. So many men are like this. When you go on a date and he's only talking about himself, he's self-centered.
Yep.
And as women, just speaking to women, practice being self-centered yourself. Okay? Practice centering yourself.
Period.
And then you won't be in a bed with a man and begging for his validation. Like some people that we've seen on the internet. You won't be begging. You won't be in a bed wondering if a man likes you, finds you attractive, or all of these other things, right? You won't be quick to get pregnant by somebody because you will center yourself instead of their desires. When they tell you, I want a baby, you will ignore them. What do I want?
Exactly.
It's also a really big part of liberation, which is a different video. When it comes to sex and intimacy, what do you want?
Jazz after dark.
Anyway, that's all I have time for today. Please, if y'all still here, subscribe to this channel, honey.
Period.
and come to a show.